Welcome to this explainer. Okay, get ready, because today we're taking a truly cinematic journey right into the mechanics of the human mind. We are about to witness a massive revolution in how we understand brain power. For decades, intelligence was viewed as this rigid, unchangeable force. But today, we're going to see how one psychologist completely shattered that rigid idea, leveled the playing field, and unleashed a completely dynamic new way to look at human potential.
You know, the renowned psychologist Robert Sternberg once described his deep childhood dread of the school psychologist. He said, "Whenever she entered the classroom, I would panic. The mere thought of it left me petrified." And why? Because she brought the almighty IQ test. Back then, this single assessment supposedly defined your entire worth, your future, your fundamental value as a human being. Just imagine carrying that heavy, definitive weight as a kid.
Section 1. The Single Intelligence Myth.
Let's travel back to 1904 for a second. Charles Spearman proposed his two-factor theory, specifically focusing on what he called the G factor. He basically noticed that kids who did well in a subject like, say, math, also tended to do well in completely unrelated subjects like vocabulary. So he concluded that a single innate inner battery, general intelligence, or G, powers all of our mental tasks. Sure, there were S factors for specific skills, but G was the master engine running the whole show.
I really want you to feel the heavy, rigid weight of this unitary theory. The concept of G created this monolithic view of the brain. Simply put, you either had it or you didn't. If you struggled with traditional academic subjects, well, society basically deemed that you lacked this singular G factor. There was absolutely no room for alternative talents or different ways of thinking. Honestly, it was a pretty bleak, linear way to judge human capability.
Section 2. Thorndike's multi-factor sand theory.
But here comes the climax of our story, a full-on rebellion against the monolith led by the highly influential psychologist Edward Thorndike. On one side, we have Spearman's solid, heavy block of general intelligence, a singular, unmoving force. But on the other side, we have Thorndike's dynamic, flowing concept of multiple, uncorrelated mental processes. Thorndike boldly argued that what we call intelligence isn't just one underlying thing at all. Actually, it's many independent things working together at the exact same time.
This concept is often called the sand theory or the atomic theory. Thorndike visualized intelligence not as some giant, unyielding boulder, but as thousands of microscopic, independent agents, kind of like individual grains of sand in a massive pile. So when you perform well on a test, you aren't drawing on one general pool of smarts. You're actually just sampling a specific subset of these countless independent units.
Section 3. Three dimensions of Thorndike.
To make this flowing, granular concept a bit more concrete and applicable to everyday life, Thorndike categorized these thousands of grains of intelligence into three highly practical, distinct dimensions. First up, he identified abstract intelligence. That's the ability to deal with ideas and symbols. Think of a doctor or an artist. Then, concrete intelligence. This is the ability to deal with physical things and mechanics. A brilliant engineer or a street-smart mechanic. And finally, social intelligence. The ability to understand and manage people, like a highly charismatic leader. This is absolutely crucial because it validates all of us, directly and powerfully challenging that old book-smart bias.
The math and the psychology just align perfectly here. Intelligence is made up of independent agents doing completely different things everywhere. What does this mean for you? Well, it means your specific, unique mix of talents is mathematically and psychologically valid. You might have an incredibly massive pile of social sand, but maybe slightly less abstract sand, and that makes you just as complex and intelligently adapted in your own unique domain.
Section 4. The Intelligence Explosion.
Thorndike's breakthrough was a massive catalyst for psychometrics. It was a real game changer. Once that G barrier was broken, the field evolved so rapidly. Trace this history with me. We started at the single factor in 1904, broke it into sand in the 1920s with Thorndike, grouped it into specific mental abilities with Thurstone in 1938, and then, boom! It absolutely exploded into these rich, multifaceted frameworks by the 1980s with Gardner and Sternberg. The definition of human potential just kept expanding.
Enter Sternberg's triarchic theory. Now, remember that young boy who was petrified of the school psychologist? Well, he grew up to prove that being smart isn't just about analytical problem-solving on a piece of paper. He showed that creative intelligence, which is your ability to deal with novelty, and practical intelligence, how well you adapt to the real world, are just as vital as those analytical test scores. He literally proved his own childhood fears wrong.
Then we have Gardner's 8 intelligences. This is where you can really find your own hidden strengths.
Are you highly attuned to your body, possessing bodily kinesthetic intelligence? Or perhaps you have a really deep musical or naturalistic intuition. Traditional schools often ignore these completely, right? But Thorndike's legacy paved the way for us to finally recognize all of these as genuine, powerful forms of intelligence.
Section 5. Measuring modern intelligence.
So, what does this all mean? Why does a theory about sand from the 1920s matter for you today, right now? Well, it matters because modern frameworks, like the widely accepted CHC theory, absolutely rely on it. They completely recognize the multifaceted nature of the brain. Instead of just one pass or fail score, they look at diverse, broad abilities. Fluid reasoning, crystallized knowledge, visual spatial processing, working memory, and processing speed. It basically provides a highly detailed, specialized map of your cognitive landscape.
In practice today, assessments like the modern WISE 5 custom tailor to your specific ability levels. They measure everything from visual working memory to naming speed to figure weights. Modern science has fully embraced Thorndike's multifaceted reality. We are, quite literally, testing the different grains of sand.
But as we start to wrap this up, we have to remember one absolutely vital point. What we consider intelligent isn't some fixed property. It is a dynamic, emergent trait that changes depending on your cultural context and the specific tasks required of you. A skill that is absolutely crucial for survival and deemed highly intelligent in one society, well, it might be totally different in another. Context is everything.
Which brings me to our final question. I want to leave you with this really provocative thought. As machines get smarter and artificial intelligence becomes deeply integrated into our daily lives, will the next great evolution of Thorndike's sand theory be cooperative intelligence? Will the future measure how well human and artificial minds merge and work together to solve problems? Honestly, it's a fascinating frontier. Thanks for diving into the mind with me today. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.